The purpose of the Medicaid Demographic and Expenditure Dashboard is to answer questions about enrollment and our recipients and the types of services provided. These data relate to the caseload report, which is located on the Medicaid website, but provides a much more detailed view behind those counts. Now, it's important to note that the counts that you're going to see are estimates and not exact numbers for the most recent 6-month period of time. These include estimates of the number of individuals who will be retroactively and backdated enrolled that will take place over the course of about 6 months. So eligibility begins the month the person qualifies. So even if it takes a couple of months for an application to get through, let's say that they had applied initially in April of 2020, if that application wasn't processed until May or June, their eligibility would start back in April. So when information is reported as of April, we include an estimate of the number of people who will eventually be added into those April counts in the numbers that you're going to see. So the numbers remain stable over time, but do include a small proportion of estimates that are there. We also have an additional dashboard that gives actual counts for April and earlier time periods. But the purpose of the Medicaid Demographic and Expenditure Dashboard is to give you an idea of kind of where we expect to be for any particular period of time in the present or past, allowing you to compare trends over time. Now, with this dashboard, you can see that there are several different types of questions that are going to be answered. Who we serve, what kind of timeline and how that changes over time, capitation payments, fee-for-service payments, the types of services that are provided, and the types of providers that are being used. Now, a couple of things to note when you come in. The first time you load up this dashboard, it will load maybe a little bit slowly as the data is pulled in. Give it just a second for it to load, and then you'll be able to use all of the screens. Also, if you notice that the formatting is a little bit off, if you come down to the full screen mode in your bottom right-hand corner and click on that, it'll often fix any of the formatting issues and will work with your screen as it is currently set up. Now, to go to the Who We Serve, you click on the tab and you have an option to go across the tabs across the top or in any one of those categories listed on the home page. If you ever want to go back to the home, you can, in the upper left-hand corner, you can click on Home. And after you have answered specific questions, if you ever need to reset any of the filters, you can click the Reset button, and it'll take you back to the starting point. Now, on each of these screens, data are loaded into the dashboard at the end or the beginning of the month following a completed eligibility. So April data can be loaded in May. May data, we have to get all the way through May to be able to tell you what happened in May. So that'll come out in June. So there's always a little bit of a delay for the full month to accumulate the number of individuals and claims that belong. Now, across the left-hand side, you're able to ask questions about different time periods. So you have 13 months of data rolling back in time. You can switch between county or zip code level maps. You can go through the different types of caseloads. So if you have age, blind, and disabled versus the Medicaid expansion population versus covered families and children, those can all be broken out. So if you wanted to know, how many members were enrolled in a particular county for a particular type of caseload for a particular age, you could add any one of those filters to get a specific number that then would allow you to see that in Franklin County, there were a certain number of members enrolled for this specific month. And then as an estimate of the total county population, how many were enrolled in Medicaid. And then the demographic information is displayed over on the right-hand side. Now, a couple of other things to quickly point out. Eligibility information is known very quickly, but claims take a little bit longer to get in. So when we look at payments can be given at the end of the month. Right? We know exactly what was spent in April as soon as April is finished. But a service date, when a service is provided, it takes time for the billing providers and the rendering providers to get all of those claims submitted, for those claims to get processed through the system, any additional documentation that's required. And that information takes time to get in. It usually takes between 3 and 6 months for the full adjudication process to come through. So you'll notice that when you get to claim type and these provider type, that the date period changes. So we go back in time about 6 months to make sure that we have a full run out of the claims that can be displayed. And then in each one of these, you can also look at the time periods and the providers that are providing needed services to the Medicaid recipients. And as you select the different filters, if you ever need to go back to the original, you can click reset and you're able to start over on a new question.